We have 3 speakers lined up, and I'm very sure that we are going to be learning a lot from here today. So our first speaker for today, without wasting our time, let's just start already. Our first speaker for today is Engineer Dele Fadipe. Sorry, I'm just trying to introduce you, sir. Engineer Dele Fadipe is the Managing Director of, sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my computer. So sorry for the delay. Okay, Engineer Dele Fadipe is the Managing Director at Elfad Concepts Limited. He is a graduate of civil engineering from the prestigious Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, Oyo State, with over 14 years hands-on experience in building, construction, and sewage management. Engineer Fadipe is a champion and an advocate for green technology, green building, and water conservation technology. He's the technical secretary for the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Lagos State Chapter, and the assistant secretary of the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers, Lagos State Chapter. He strongly believes in the 3 Ps of sustainable philosophy, which are prosperity, people, and planet, and SDGs 3, 6, and 15. Engineer Fadipe and Elfad Concept is the foremost biogas sewage treatment plant and biodigester construction and installation company in Nigeria, with a verifiable track record for the construction of domestic and commercial anaerobic digesters in several states in Nigeria. He aims to engage all stakeholders in the dissemination of information on organic waste treatment and to adopt the most pragmatic way of managing waste, especially sewage, across Nigeria and the world at large, using Elfad's integrated waste treatment system and the anaerobic aerobic sewage treatment plant. Engineer Fadipe has proudly changed the face of sewage management, especially in Lagos State. Most consultants, developers, and homeowners are switching from the conventional septic tank and the expensive conventional aerobic system to the indigenous anaerobic digestion system. He's happily married with 1 wife and 3 young engineers. Join me in welcoming Engineer Fadipe to the webinar today. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, facilitator Zainab. Please, can you hear me? If you can hear me, say hi.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. I'm sure others can hear you too.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you can hear me. So let me share my screen and okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Thank you once again for the introduction. My name is Engineer Dele Fadipe. This evening, I'll be talking along with other speakers, basically addressing water inequality, ensuring universal access to clean water and sanitation. Before that, let me introduce my company and what we do to you. So Elfad Concepts is an indigenous civil and environmental engineering company with operations in Nigeria and in Ghana. The principal activity of our company is to process and recycle organic waste, both solid and liquid, on-site into reusable byproduct. Now, we emphasize on-site because what we experience on a good day is that people just have holding stations, which we call septic tank. And at the end of the day, when they get filled up, you call a truck to pick it up, and they take it to elsewhere. You don't know what they do, where they dump your waste, if it's properly treated or not. And trust me, if it's not properly treated, it will come back to us. And what we experience on a good day, on a regular basis, is that it always comes back to us and makes us susceptible to diarrhea, cholera, and all different kind of diseases. So what we are encouraging is for you to treat your waste on site. We strongly believe in reduce, recycle, and reuse of resources from our ecosystem. So the treatment of sewage and biodegradable fraction of municipal solid waste is a response to the implementation of the Tokyo Protocol, which is a reduction in emission of greenhouse gases. Our corporate mission is to provide clean and safe environments using IWTS, which is integrated with waste system. This will eliminate sewage dumping into our wetlands that poses a threat to the ecosystem. IWTS is an anaerobic digestion system. It is a safe and cost-effective sewage solution that will treat your wastewater and guarantee no evaporation of sludge as against the conventional septic tank system and other sewage treatment plants. So what is anaerobic digestion? It's a biological process where microbes break down organic matter, that is material that originates from plants and animals, in confined oxygen-free environments. Now, the biogas sewage treatment plant will digest, treat, and convert biomass or any other biodegradable material into useful fuels such as inflammable gas for cooking and rich organic effluent. So biogas provide a smokeless, high-efficiency fuel for domestic purposes such as cooking and lighting and also heating. However, the effluent generated from the system has good nitrogen content, which can be used as liquid fertilizer. I'll be emphasizing more on the liquid side of the biogas technology and relating it to water conservation technologies, basically this evening. So it contains very good nitrogen content, which can be used for liquid fertilizer. It's called a soil repairer, and it can also be further treated and reused for drinking or discharge into the environment. It is a water conservation technology and a solution which will solve some of the water inequality and access to good sanitation. So quickly, water inequality and its challenges. I want to show you some slides and whet your appetite before we discuss, just give some definitions and show you two solutions that would help solve water inequality and access to clean water and sanitation. One of which is what we are doing at Alpha Concepts. The other companies and other people around the globe are also doing that. So basically, we experience this on a daily basis, especially in the rural area, as a result of water scarcity. I'm sure you have seen this in pictures or in movies where people drink very unhygienic water. And trust me, these same people will come back to sell vegetables to you, and it goes to hurt us in different ways. This slide is just basically to show us how some people are scarcely looking for, as in they're really looking for water. Water can be scarce in some part of the world, and Africa is not left out. In fact, you'll be surprised that South America is the worst hit in this water scarcity issue. Now, this has been the trend over the years. You could see that from 1910, the percentages for water scarcity was quite low. But as civilization and modernization come in, population increases, there's been more scarcity. And look at 2010, you can see the numbers. This goes to show that as if population is not controlled, there will be very scarce and available water for us to use on this side of the planet. So basically, where is all of this water? Can you see my screen? Let me zoom out a little. The solution to water scarcity is one for us to conserve and value water. The challenge is that some of us, especially in Nigeria, here, where we sink borehole indiscriminately, we do not appreciate that water is scarce in some part of the world, or even some part of Nigeria. So the solution to water scarcity is one to conserve and value water, to protect and restore fresh water and the wetland ecosystem, and for us to invest in water infrastructure and technology. I'm going to talk a little about it. And all of this, of course, if we don't address global warming, then we'll continue to experience water scarcity. So the solution to water scarcity is in these 4 points here. Like I said earlier, conservation of water, and for us as humans to value water. in the next 40 years, this is what is going to happen. If you look at the table here, you can see the ratio of withdrawal of supply. This goes to show that some parts of North America will experience about 10% withdrawal of supply. Now, the extreme cases, as you can see, is Europe. Luckily for us in Africa, we are still going to be safe for a while. There's low to medium withdrawal of water. And that does not mean we should waste or not value water like I explained in the other slide. So quickly, what is water inequality? This refers to the unequal distribution of water resources, both in terms of quantity and quality. It is not enough to have water. It also has to be good and quality water among different regions of community and individuals. It is a global issue that affects numerous countries and has significant socio-economic and environmental consequences. Many people around the world lack access to safe and clean drinking water. According to WHO and UNICEF, around 785 million people still do not have access to basic drinking water services. This disproportionately affects people living in the impoverished area, rural communities, and developing countries. Like you saw in the first two slides, those who get hit by water scarcity are those in the rural area, those who do not have the economic power to sink borehole or to treat water to environmentally acceptable standards. So here are some of the key aspects and factors relating to water inequality and access to clean water. One is inequality availability. Water scarcity is a leading cause of water inequality. Some regions, particularly arid and drought-prone areas, facing significant challenges in accessing freshwater resources. This scarcity often leads to competition and conflict over water among different users. Now, if you around the world, there are several parts of it, even in Nigeria, some boundary issues, people are fighting because of water, availability of water. Some people even encroach or try to dominate other tribes because they have access to water or because they have manpower, they have resources that they can use to intimidate other people just because of scarcity of water. Now, if we all embrace infrastructure, which is the next point, if we embrace infrastructure, if government puts in the necessary infrastructure, of course, there'll be no need for boundaries or competition among rural settlers, basically, or fighting for the available water resources. So insufficient water infrastructure such as pipeline, treatment plants, storage facility contribute to water inequality. Communities with inadequate infrastructure struggle to provide clean water and safe water to their residents, leading to reliance on unsafe sources like contaminated wells and rivers. Similar to the first slide I showed you, economic disparity. Socioeconomic factors play a crucial role in water inequality. Infrastructure or water treatment system. As a result, they have more likely to face water shortages or rely on clean sources. Basically, economic power. Those who have lower economic power suffer the most. You can see that happening in the northern part of Nigeria, not just in water alone, but even land mass. People fight over available land, fight over access to water, just because they have more economic power than the other. But if water is made available or infrastructure is made available, treatment plants and the pipelines are supplied or run through all these the rural areas or villages that really need this water, so they don't depend on clean and safe wells, then it will reduce the fights and of course the conflicts that will arise as a result of water inequality. So gender, sorry, where am I? Okay, gender disparity. Of course, it's in Africa here, we see more women go to the farm, women go to the stream. And of course, women and girls are disproportionately affected by water inequality. In many societies, women are responsible for collecting water, which can also consume significantly amount of the time and energy, preventing them from pursuing education or engaging in economic activities. Moreover, the lack of access to sanitation facility disproportionately affects women's health and safety. Now, these are the effects of the scarcity of water. Because we now have to send our mothers and our girls to go search for water, they have to walk some kilometers to the stream and get water. Of course, it will affect their economic output. And on the other way around, if water was easily made available, if we had the necessary infrastructure, then of course there'll be man-hour saved. There'll be more economic value for what our women can do with their time, and of course gain the necessary education that will even help in putting water, making water available. Another thing is climate action, so climate change. The impact of climate change exacerbates water inequality. Changing weather patterns, including drought and floods, can disrupt water availability and quality. This proportionately affecting vulnerable communities that lack the means to adapt to mitigating these effects. We're all experiencing climate change. Sometimes the tides go down. Droughts can come in at any time just because of human action. As we all know, climate change will not happen if man does not distort the ecosystem. But if we continue to release gases that are not friendly to the environment, of course, if we continue to burn wood, then of course, we are distorting the ecosystem, and this will have a resultant effect on how much access to water or potable water we can have. Now, political and institutional factors, government and institution frameworks play poor communities or marginalized groups often lack the financial resources to invest in water, a critical role in water management. In some cases, poor government, corruption, and inefficient policies hinder the equitable distribution of water resources, exacerbating water inequality and, of course, quality of water. One of the challenges you have, not just government or institution, is that even in the built environment, a lot of people, developers, homeowners pay attention to aesthetics of the building. They do not pay attention to infrastructure such as water and sewage. And of course, if we do not pay critical attention to management of water and sewage, then we would have very, 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 very poor institutions. Of course, this will lead to poor and quality water in such facilities. So addressing water inequality. Basically, to address water inequality is just to do the opposite of everything we have just mentioned. Now, it requires infrastructure development, investing in water infrastructure, including pipelines, storage systems, treatment plants, and which can help improve access to clean water for undeserved community. Now, it's funny that we have to say some communities are undeserving. The reason is some communities are very far, but the fact that they are far from the urban center does not mean they do not deserve quality water, or they should continue to experience the water inequality. Now, community engagement. This is very, very important. One of the things we can do is involve local communities in decision-making process related to water management. And also, this will ensure that the needs and concerns are addressed effectively. Education and awareness, promoting water conservation practices and raising awareness. Promoting water conservation practices and raising awareness about water-related issues can help communities understand the importance of sustainable water use and management. It is happening that, especially in the urban area, most people would use treated water for their lawn. First of all, when you are using treated water for your lawn, for your green area, it is a pure waste of water, water that could have been channeled to the so-called undeserved community. So it is good that we educate ourselves. Let's look at water conservation, water reuse, and of course that will help us save the volume of water that we use of treated water that we waste. Now, remember that 85% of clean water is wastewater. Now, what do you do with the 85% of wastewater? You just contain them in a septic tank or in a holding station, and when it gets filled up, you call a truck and go discharge it into the ocean? No. What we should do is the next stage, technology and innovation. Advancements in water purification and desalination technologies can expand access to safe water, particularly in water-scarce regions. Policies and government reform, implementing effective policies, regulation and government mechanisms that prioritize equitable water distribution and resource management is crucial. Transportation accountable institutions are necessary to address water effectively. Now, there are two technologies I'm going to be talking about here. One is the fecal sludge water conservation technology, and another is desalination. Now, very importantly, is also international cooperation. Nobody's an island, no community is an island. Pardon me. Where am I? Okay. Nobody's an island, no community is an island. We all need collaboration because some communities, some countries, some parts of the world have more resources and others do not have. And that's why we must always collaborate. So collaboration among nations, international organizations, and civil society is essential to tackle water inequality on a global scale. Sharing best practices, knowledge, and resources can contribute to more sustainable and equitable water management practices. It is important to recognize that water inequality is a complex issue influenced by a variety of factors. By addressing these factors comprehensively and adopting a multidimensional approach, progress can be made towards achieving water security and ensuring universal access to clean and safe water for all. Now, one of the technologies we can use to, sorry, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. So one of the technologies we can use is desalination. Desalination is basically taking water from the ocean and of course passing it through some form of treatment. And of course, it takes away the salt and mineral in ocean. We all know that the water in the ocean is salty and is not good for consumption. But there are machines, they are they are compact ones, they are domestic desalinators, there are different types of desalinators depending on how much you want to spend and what volume of water you want to treat per hour or per day. So one of the things we can do is to take water from the ocean. As we all know, the ocean is the last receiving water body. Every stream, everybody flows to the ocean, so it will never become dry. However, we can recycle the water from the ocean, we use it, and it goes back to the ocean. One of the solutions we can use is desalination. This is the process from the water. Of course, we have the pump station that sucks the water from the ocean. It passes through coagulation and percolation. Of course, the supernatant now moves through a filtration bed, and from there we go to the desalination. The desalinator itself looks like a reverse osmosis system, and from there you can now safely distribute the water for use. In fact, they are very affordable, compact desalinators that you can, in fact, some people are asked to invest in that for areas where they do not have water. You can actually do this, and you can now channel the water. You'll be surprised to know that Gaddafi, the former president of Libya, had to do something similar to this. He ran a water pipeline from, I can't remember the country now, and ran it down to Libya. And Libya, as at that time, was one of the countries to beat in Africa. Libya was at that time one of the countries to beat. No droughts because they had a mechanism government had put in policies that was able to draw water from another country and pump it down to their country. So one of the technologies we can use to address water scarcity, water inequality, and also improve the quality of the water is the use of technology and innovations such as desalination. This is just to show you a more robust desalinator system. It looks like a damming process. However, ocean, seawater, salt water passes through a channel, and from there it passes through the process. Like I mentioned. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me, please?
I can hear
Yes,
you.
we can.
Oh, okay. So this is just to show you what desalination also means. Is basically taking fresh water, exposing it to the atmosphere, allowing for filtration. Then you do your reverse osmosis, and of course you get fresh water. Another technology we can use, which is what we do at LFAD, is to convert your sewage into water. Basically, your sewage, your organic waste, will give it two byproducts, which is biogas and water. It's a biogas technology. We currently do that here in Nigeria. We're exporting our technology to Ghana and to Kenya. The ovation and the acceptance in Kenya is very, very loud. But basically, you can convert your organic waste, you can convert your fecal sludge waste back to clean water, which you can now reuse, reduce, and of course, recycle for use. So this is a schematic of a anaerobic biodigester. It has 4 compartments where all your wastewater goes from the kitchen and soil can come through this inlet chamber. From here, it goes into the dome digester. Within 30 days, bacteria called methanogen begin to break down your system. Now, just like any sewage system, you have your sludge at the base where the cursor is. Now, on top of your sludge, you now have your clear water after sedimentation of your sludge or the solid waste. And on top of this clear water, in every sewage system, you now have what is the scum zone. In this particular treatment, the anaerobic system, you now have a biogas zone just above the red line here. So what happens? As your sludge or your waste comes into the dome digester, it settles down within 30 days, which is the sludge retention period. Bacteria begin to feed on the sludge and it breaks it down. So this is what happens. The 3 states of matter begins to take its course. The solid will break into liquid and gas. Now the gas will go to the top of the dome as a result of density, while the water will now move through capillary action through this capillary pipe to the expansion chamber and to a filtration bed. Now, just like the desalinator, it passes through biofilters, and at the end of the day, it comes out here as clean water. Now, this is a water conservation technology. Remember, your solid waste comes in here, and at the end of the day, that black water, what we call in chemistry, that black water comes out here as clean water. Now, we can also further treat, this is a similar schematic. However, we have what we call the polishing unit. Just like the desalinator, we can introduce reverse osmosis to ensure that the quality of water is potable and good for reuse. We can introduce reverse osmosis, and at the end of the day, the water is further treated and you can consume it. With this, you won't need to evacuate. You get back your space 100%. You will even get biogas that you can use for cooking. However, our focus here is the 85% water. Remember that per capita, everybody is expected to use about 100 liters per day. Now, if 85% of the water is coming back to us, then would we have water shortage? No. What we need is technologies like this that we can deploy both in the rural area, in urban area, And for us, as EFA, we have done this quite in Lagos and in most parts of Nigeria. So just to whet your appetite, the construction process, we build in situ, that is, we build on site. Construction material is burnt bricks. This is because of the gases that are generated from your pieces, so that it does not affect your solid wood. If you use a concrete tank or a steel tank, if you use steel tank, because of the hydrogen sulfide content in the biogas or the gases generated from pieces, to corrode your steel, and over a period of 5 to 10 years, you need to refurbish or change the tank. If you use concrete tank, the same thing will happen. Concrete has better properties than steel anyway. However, the methane will bond with the wall and create ripples. And before you know it, there's spillage or ingress of water from the environment into the tank, and that defeats the purpose. So there are two materials that do not react to the gases that are generated from sewage or sludge, basically clay and plastic. But clay gives you better property than plastic, and that's why we use clay. If you use plastic, you do not have complete fermentation. It means you have slurry or residue substrate. One of the benefits is biogas, but that's not our focus this evening. Our focus is the reuse of the water. So construction, like I said, you build from bottom up, on site, in situ, and irrespective of where the space available, like you can see, this is a stamped concrete pavement used for this hotel. You can still have the anaerobic biodigester installed, and you get back your space 100%. This is one of the installations we have in Lagos, somewhere in Igbo. Despite the water table, all of this here is under the car park, so there's a reduced reuse of space, which is what the world is emphasizing today. All of this installation, the filtration bed, the dome, all of it is underground, so you get back your space 100%. Let me quickly show you this. Still on the system, irrespective of the population. So any kind of facility can use this, whether it's the rural area. And in fact, for the rural area, apart from the fact that they'll be getting back water for their farm, which is, well, we call it nitrogenous water, depending on the level of treatment you do, they can also stop impacting on the ozone by reducing or stopping the use of firewood, since they'll be getting biogas from their sewage. Now, for urban center, this is an event center, and you can see the installation is on the road. At the end of the day, you get back your space 100%. This has become this. This is a domestic house, so even individuals can also reuse their water and, of course, save treated water for every other person to use, instead of using treated water for their lawn. In this particular site, you can you see the sprinkler there? We introduced the sprinkler here. Remember that the vase, under this vase is where the dome is. Let me go to the previous slide quickly. This is the dome, the main reactor where the treatment is taking place. And at the end of the day, this is what it looks like. Now look at how green this green area is. The effluent, the water that is coming out from the facility. Like I said, 85% of clean water is wastewater. Now, what do you do with that 85%? You just discharge it untreated to the environment, or do you treat it and reuse? In this case, we are treating and reusing. Just for knowledge, you can see the black water, like I said, and after passing through our treatment, it comes out as clean water in this other bottle. This is the biogas. However, I won't dwell on this today. I will quickly go to the reuse of the water.
I'm sorry for cutting in, sir. But could you keep begin to round up? So I'm so sorry.
No problem. I'm rounding up.
Okay,
so one of the ways we can address water shortage and water scarcity is reuse of water. The emphasis is reuse of our sludge, reuse of of course, of wastewater, and let's educate ourselves. Let's educate our community about the reduce of using treated water for, treated water, potable water for green area. It is not even good for your green. That same facility within a few weeks is this. So in conclusion, you can see what this treatment can do. You can imagine the waste from your toilet passing through our treatment, and it comes out as clean as this. I'm sure if I drop this on your table, you will mistake it for bottled water and you may drink it. This goes to show that there are technologies, there are solutions, there are innovations around us that can help reduce water scarcity and address water shortage. Let me just close. So basically, using alpha the anaerobic biodigesters will provide nutrient water for your landscaping, which will help in reducing and reusing of water. It also gives you biogas for cooking. Of course, it does not require a superstructure because everything is underground. Energy is saved, as the treatment does not require power to operate, except when you want to reuse the water and introduce a pump. So energy costs associated with operating other treatment plants is totally reduced. And very, very importantly, no land is lost. Wherever you use for the treatment will give you back 100%. And very importantly too, there'll be no evacuation. All your sludge can be converted to clean water, which you can now reuse for ourselves and for our ecosystem. Thank you for your time. If there's questions, I'll take them.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful session. It was really an eye-opener. I mean, I didn't know anything about this before now. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. Please, does anyone have any question? In the next 1-2 minutes, please, we can run through any question that anyone might have. You can unmute yourself to ask a question. You can ask a question in the chat. Okay, somebody is raising their hand. Could you please unmute and speak?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Abdulrashid Babalola. I want to first of all appreciate the convener, the CEO of ERA, our own engineer, Dr. Malola Adetona, for being architect of developing the youths and the younger one, many identifying with tomorrow for this webinar of today, and many always. The theme, water inequality and water scarcity, is no doubt very apt in our country, Nigeria of today, where if we visit places and see how people are disorganized due to lack of water, one will appreciate this webinar. Though I joined a little bit late because of other weekend assignments, but I promised myself I will not miss the. I become so happy when I was able to meet up with this. I also want to commend Engineer Dele Fadipe, as well as others for facilitating this, not leaving out Ogujimi, our very able moderator. I'm happy with the good work. Seeing what is done here for the few minutes that I joined is very amazing. And I wish to also contact the CEO of ERA so that I could know how to also benefit with this technology at my place there in Oshogbo. I know of area where if we're able to utilize this technology to manage the water, just the way it has been done here, to serve in the poultry as also serve in the agricultural, in the in plants. I think I like this technology, and I give kudos to you all. So congratulations, please, let's keep doing this. This continuous professional education, engineering education, is what can grow professional. Is what, because when many of us have left the university long time ago, practicing, many don't even like to reading anything that is called book. All they want is just to do what can earn money for them. But when this advocacy continues, reaching everybody, one will remain in the limelight of knowledge, and it will make this country to grow. We have all visited, some of us have visited developed country. What is keeping them is all this. So once again, I thank you all.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much for your input, sir. It is much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you, Engineer Dele Fadipe. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation and coming to join us today. That was an amazing presentation. Thank you. Right now, I think, okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to be taking all questions after both speakers that are remaining have given their presentation. So right now, our second speaker is Engineer Dr. Molola Adetono.
Good evening.
She's the, good evening, ma. Good evening, ma. I'm just trying to introduce you first. Welcome, ma. Engineer Dr. Molola Adenike Adetono. She's the CEO of ERA. She's a civil engineer and a chartered project manager. She graduated from the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology in 1998 with a bachelor's in civil engineering, and she received the special conferment of Doctor of Science honoris causa in civil engineering and technological development from the European American University, Commonwealth of Dominica, Africa operations. She has over 25 years cognate experience in the construction industry. She has executed several outstanding projects up till now, and she's currently the vice chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Lagos State branch. She's the proprietor of Mariam Montessori School, a nursery, primary, and secondary school, catching them young and teaching them soft skill knowledge. You're very, very much welcome, ma. Thank you for honoring our invitation. The floor is yours, ma.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy that we're all here this evening, sacrificing time to be here. Thank you to Engineer Rashid Babalola for such compliments. It's actually encouraging that you're here today and that you have said something really very nice about ERA. Thank you so much. To the facilitators of this training, I say thank you to Zainab and to Engineer Elfa that agreed to be on this platform with a very short notice too. Thank you. Water is life. We can't be alive without having a relationship with water. So we say thank you. I have a very short number of slides to present. I will need to be able to share my screen. Please allow me. My slides are not just about 10, and I will be introducing us with video. What I'm talking about is, yes, continuous professional development. How can we be healthy with water? What is the climate environment telling us about water? What can we do right? And what can we do better? I still cannot share my slides. It's both disabled participants sharing screen. Please enable me to share my screen now so that I wouldn't waste your time. We'll just go briefly through the slides about water, and it's not only about water, even our environment affects our lives.
I think Engineer Delifadipe is the host now. Please, sir, could you please allow Engineer Dr. Lola to share our screen, sir?
Oh, okay, let me do that quickly.
Okay. While we're waiting, I'm still saying thank you to everybody that is online. Engineer Peter Okay is online. Engineer Demola is online. My dearest Engineer Rashid Babalola, a very active executive of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, thank you. And a prof of the University of, now don't query me for that, is it Mina? But thank you also for joining. I see Zenwata, I see Kendi Prepare, I see lots of members. Thank you. Now I can share my slides.
Yes, ma, I was about to tell you that. You can't.
Thank you. The presentation is not too many, and I hope it loads up well. Okay, is my slide visible?
Not yet, ma. I can't see your slide just yet.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Thank
Not
you.
like for the screen.
All right, I'm trying to see if I can maximize it. Don't ask me. Where's that? If I can't see that, then we'll just go through. If you don't mind, the topic for my presentation is thirsty for life, devastating impact of water scarcity on health and well-being. Okay, with that, I will be sharing. Yes, I have been disallowed again. Who is Abolaji Ogunjimi? Can you please enable my screen sharing?
I am a co-host. Only the host can allow.
Okay, SDGN Nigeria.
Yes, can the host allow our share a screen, please?
Okay, I think I've been allowed now. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you. My name is Engineer Dr. Lola Ditono, and I thank you for having me here. I'm starting with a little video. It's just less than a minute, but let's look at it intensively. It's just 1 minute. I hope we can pick something from the video. Let's check. Let's look at this now. Thank you. Now that was water. That is our water. That is what we live. People live with this kind of water, with the environment, and they still survive. So I started with water scarcity. This is a global crisis. Water scarcity is a global crisis that affects millions of people around the world. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, over 2 billion people lack access to safe drinking water. This can lead to a range of health issues from dehydration and malnutrition to waterborne diseases like cholera and typhoid and so many much more. To emphasize the seriousness of this issue, by 2025, it's estimated that half of the world's population will be living in water-stressed environment. That means the environment where water is a big challenge, especially drinkable water. This means that even more people will be at risk of health problems related to water scarcity. So, on water scarcity, the second slide, the global crisis is the link between water and good health. This is like my table of contents. They were talking about the impact of water scarcity on developing countries, solutions for addressing water scarcity, and the importance of taking action. I know that one of our SDG goals is having clean water and reducing open defecation. I think that is SDG number 7. And that is where everybody is targeting towards year 2030. And that is just a few years away. So what are we talking about? The link between the water and health. And I said, access to clean water is essential for maintaining good health and well-being. Without it, people are at the risk of a range of illnesses. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you're supposed to do is to drink a glass of clean water, room temperature, or some prefers it warm, to detox your body. And then you take your bath with also clean, disinfected water. And with all that, the risk of illnesses like diarrhea, dysentery, and other waterborne diseases will be negated. Additional inadequate water supplies can lead to poor hygiene and sanitation, which can further increase the risk of disease transmission. And this is what we need to be conscious of. What do we do with water to make sure that we don't get risk? For example, a family in the most rural parts of the country has to walk miles each day to collect water from a contaminated source, which is the open stream. Communities in some of the hardest drought-stricken areas struggle to grow crops and feed their families. I know that Nigeria Society of Engineers are encouraging communities now to have water, boreholes with overhead tanks, supplying water for people to fetch water from. And also know the president of Femi Watch, which is Females in the Watch system. Everybody's trying to do something about it. But where are we? What can we do differently? So let's talk about the global water crisis. The global water crisis is a complex issue that affects every continent and every country in some way, one way or another. According to the United Nations, over 2 billion people lack access to safe, clean drinking water, while 4.5 billion people lack adequate sanitation facilities. This has serious implications on our health and well-being, as well as economic development and social stability. Now, what is the impact of water scarcity on developing countries? Now, this is a tough one because Nigeria is a developing country, and we know that. So developing countries are often disproportionately impacted by water scarcity. In many areas, people have to walk long distances each day to collect water from streams, and we know this in our villages. That is what happened. Those of us in Abuja and Lagos and Port Harcourt, all the main geopolitical zones, are blessed not to do this because we have drinkable water coming out from our taps, from the local governments and the governments. But now, what about those areas where they need to trek a long distance just to get water, and this water is confirmed contaminated, but there's no other source? They use the same water to grow crops and to feed their families, leading to malnutrition and poverty. A parent who must dedicate a considerable amount of time each day fetching water for his or her household has less time to worry about the other needs of a family. And this can have a trickle-down effect on the entire household. Let's look at ourselves. How does water scarcity affect us? What is the impact to us as individuals, to us as engineers, to us as young graduating members of the entire company? We're looking at, of the entire country, we're looking at what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Solutions for addressing water scarcity. There are many potential solutions for addressing water scarcity, both in the short term and the long term. Some short-term solutions including conservative measures like fixing leakages, reducing wastewater, while others involve investing in infrastructure to improve water supply and distribution, climate change effects. Longer-term solution can include water reuse, that means recycling of water, and the desalination techniques, which Engineer Fadipe has already spoken about already, that you can desalinate your water to make it good enough for drinking. I'm also aware that his facility is about the deserts can provide water to ensure that our environment is green. You understand? So that this water is not thrown away anymore, but you're using it to water the crops, ensure that you plant green, and using it for washing cars and external uses of water. So it's one of our short-term solution, I believe so. There has also been a rise in boreholes and freshwater supply facilities in some neighborhoods around the country, but this really isn't enough. We have to emphasize the importance of public education and awareness campaign to encourage people to use water more efficiently. Let's stop wasting water. Let's use water more efficiently. And then the importance of taking this action, addressing global water crisis, is essential for ensuring the health and well-being of people around the world. It's also important for economic development and social stability. However, solving these complex issues will require the collective efforts of the government. This is critical. We need the government, we need organizations, and we need individuals around the world to make a positive impact in making water drinkable and available. In the early years, we used to have wells. People would dig wells around the environment, and then it became death traps because it was collapsing after a while. So we decided that, okay, boreholes solution came in. But for companies, for environment, for the rural areas, for the villages, blessed people can actually dig boreholes, put solar system for them to pump, and ensure that there is maintenance of water. Therefore, I encourage everybody to support organizations working to improve access to clean water and to start trying to conserve water in our own communities. I'm certain we can make a difference if we work together. I know that the chairman of NSC Buhari branch provided bowl water in some rural areas in Abuja. In Lagos too, we're looking at something like that. And pardon me, I have another video which is about Makoko in Lagos. This place is a water, people live inside this water, and it is really very unsafe. They drink it, they bring children there, they live here. So if I play this video, we're going to see the reality of even Lagos being a smart city. We also have some areas that need government intervention. Let me play the video now because I know my time is running out. Just a minute, thank you. Okay, this is a school in the same environment, in the same water. Can you imagine the good health that these children will have? Can we just imagine, look at the population in a class. A team of entrepreneurs went there to try and make a difference. And those were the ones that you see walking around. I'm going to play it again. This is what it looks like from the drone. There was a drone to capture. And these were the entrepreneurs that went there that trying to make a difference. This is where they live. That's the drone. This is the overview. Look at their means of transportation is boat along these water ride areas. Well, thank you. I hope this puts a thought in our hearts. Let's start looking for a solution to water, and let us just be ready to make a difference. Water is life. Water is you. Water is me. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your time listening and attending to this presentation.
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Ma. Yeah, thank you so much, Ma. That was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing that charge up in us. Thank you so much. And thank you for pointing out the importance of we as individuals, government agencies, and collaborations to solve the problems of water pollution, water scarcity. Thank you so much, Ma. That was amazing. That was a wake-up call. Thank you so much. If we have any question, I think we can take questions right now for her. If there's anyone with any question, you can raise a hand, you can send a message in the chat box. Okay. It looks like there's no one with a question. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so very much for honoring the invitation. Thank you so much.
I know you
Yes.
are skeptical if giving me the opportunity to say what then again.
It's fine.
I can see you watching my hand up. No, it's just to complement what I've earlier said about someone volunteering to engage the younger ones, and indeed the populace on continuous professional development. Like I said, I gave it to the last speaker. This is what she has always been doing. All I know, when you engage in developing the younger ones, you are preparing for your tomorrow. That is exactly what I should be doing. I want to congratulate you, and I wish you a very successful continuous development, development programs. Thank you. I'm indeed impressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, so right now we'll be having our third speaker. Okay, so our third speaker is Mr. Ademilusi Ayomipo. He's an SDGs advocate. He has a bachelor's degree in economics, specializing in development economics. This pathway has bolstered his interest in sustainable development, including climate change and environmental sustainability. He's a youth climate champion with the Global Youth Leadership Center, Bangladesh, as well as the Climate Leadership Fellowship of, he's a climate leadership fellow of the Climate Smart Nigeria. Through advocacy in climate action as an SDG, he has given climate education to over 1,500 young people between the ages of 10 and 18 in Lagos and in Ibadan. His goal is to dig deeper into the SDGs. Similarly, he has worked with various organizations pursuing the SDGs, including SDG 1, 2, 4, 5, amongst others. You're welcome, Mr. Ademilusi. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bolaji.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ma'am, Doctor, Engineer Fadifetu. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here, and thank you for the wonderful presentation. I've been on since the start of the meeting, and I can tell you, I don't even know what to say again. It's as if our engineers did justice to everything. So I think the only thing I will have to say is just to add to what they've said, because I believe they talked so much about water and how it affects everyday life. So I want to share my screen. Yes, I think I'm a co-host. Let me do that.
Yes, you're a host. You can go ahead and share your screen.
Sorry, just a minute. Okay. Is the screen visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
it's visible. It's visible.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, I'm Ayomipo. I'm a mister. Don't worry, I'm not a doctor and engineer. I'm just a Mr. Ayomipo Ademilusi. So I will be speaking on SDGs 3 and 6. Basically, it's just to okay. The purpose of my discussion is centered on the fact that, as we all know, water is central to life, and water will actually cut across almost all facets of the SDGs, including energy, everything. But specifically, we have SDGs that address water, SDG 6 largely talking about clean water and sanitation, as well as linking it to health and well-being, which is the purpose of everything, how water affects good health and well-being. And that's why I'll be speaking on SDG 3 and 6. So basically, water changes everything. Let me say, probably is like a topic for mine. Water changes everything. Of course, water changed the world, of course, based on if you are using scriptural basis, water changed the world. There was flood and then everything came up. So water have always been a deciding factor when it comes to changing everything. So yeah, we believe in a world where every single person has access to clean and safe water. Clean water changes absolutely everything. So basically, when a community have access to clean water, it can change just about anything. Now, these are the 4 cardinal points. We have health, which is more, which is talking more about the about SDG3, good health and well-being. Now, I want to use 1 and 3 first, health and then local economic growth. Okay, there is a popular saying that health is wealth. Of course, health is always wealth. Without health, to create wealth will be a bit difficult, and that's why water and health have to go. They have to go together. I think I was watching. There was one documentary like that that I saw yesterday on LinkedIn about water and how poor water and sanitation and everything can lead to a lot of issues. A particular guy was narrating his ordeal when he was young, how in his village, the water they take is the same water they defecate in, do this, do that. And so there was an outbreak of diseases and illnesses and so on. Now, one thing is a population that is not healthy can, of course, cannot be productive. I'm a development economy, so in that area, when it comes to the SDGs, health, growth, development, and so on, without health, of course, the quality of people, because development is based on quality of people. Growth, economic growth is based on the quantity of people. Now, health that is affected by poor sanitation and water will always affect both the quality and the quantity of people. Now, the quantity in terms of course, when people start dying from outbreaks of diseases, cholera, or whatever, the population of the community will go down. So that's quantity, is reducing quantity. Now, the quality as well. For instance, if somebody that has a kind of marginal productivity, let's say of produce, probably marginal productivity is just what an average labor can produce, human being. Let's say you can produce 100. If you are sick, of course, you produce, let's say 70 or 50. Now, it has reduced your quality, your productivity output, which is still your quantity in the same sense. So now that means health is very tied to economic growth. If people are sick in a community, they can't even think about being productive. So that means the economy will run down. And that is where water changes everything. That means water can decide whether a country will develop or not. For example, just like in the video that engineer showed us, we can see the Makoko. Of course, productivity in that region, in that particular place. If you have been to Mako, you know Mako, you know the wala going on in that place. Let me use that word. Wala going on in that place. Of course, there can't be too much productivity there. Because of one fact, the living condition, which is still tied and centered around water, because those guys live around like within and around water bodies. Now, access to food. Now, the issue with food is the fact that water is central to food. Why is there a public outcry about climate change and environmental sustainability? Because climate change and environmental sustainability is central to food production. That's why the Food Agriculture Organization, FAO, is very particular when it comes to climate change and environmental sustainability, because without climate, which affects water and other things that are needed for agricultural productivity, there will be trouble. Of course, farmers need adequate water to cater for their farming and everything. And also, water can be a deciding factor when it comes to conflict and violence. For instance, I wrote a piece on like climate change and violence in Nigeria. Water is central to some economic and like agricultural productivity, especially when it comes to herders, nomadic guys who rear livestock and everything. Water is very central to their own economic or means of subsistence, their socio-economic activity. Now, if there is no water, they can't produce food. Their own production is more of meat in terms of livestock and so on, and it's still part of food anyways. There is a reduction. Now, the issue is the fact that due to a kind of issue with Lake Chad and so on, the basin and so on, herders had to come, like, draw down to the south and everything. And that was what actually at a point exacerbated the violence in the middle belt with herders and farmers clash and issues. Now, we all know that, of course, I think Benue and some parts of the middle, they are like the food basket. Of course, that means food will come down because farmers cannot go to the farm because there will always be, of recent, there was still a kind of, just this week, the deputy governor also had to go to some communities. There's always fighting, violence, and so on over there. So food production will go down, health will go down just because of water. Now, the main point of the violence was actually a function of water. Water that herders had access to is going down. So now they have to find other means. And so they have to, I'm just trying to paint the picture of how important water is, as well as sanitation, on health, on food, on economy, and on education. Of course, a sick child cannot go to school. A sick teacher cannot be in school to teach anybody. So let me just give some. We have like 771 million people in the world live without clean water. 663 million people in the world still lack access to improved drinking water sources. Of course, this is a lot. If we look at how much the world is globalized and urbanized and industrialized, that means an average industrial city, even in urban cities like Ibadan, Lagos, and so on, there are still a lot of people who don't have access to water. Now, let's talk about the SDGs on water, sanitation, good health, and well-being. Sorry, I'm trying to be as fast as I can. So now, before I delve into this, there's something they call the SDGs. We have the goals, we have the indicators, we have the targets. Now, it's just like a kind of flow. We have goal, targets, indicators. Now, indicators are just for us to measure progress towards reaching a particular target. Like, simply put, indicators are just like M&E tool, like monitoring and evaluation to measure performance. How well are we doing as a world? Now, targets are either outcome targets or they can be means of implementation targets. And the idea is just to delimit actions that we have to do. Of course, goals are the outcomes. And for people who have done basic project management, for outcomes, you have indicators, you have targets, you have you have to delimit whatever. You have the broad outcome that you want to achieve, but you can't always just work on that very big broad umbrella. So goals, target, indicators. So for SG 3 and 6, we have indicators and targets as well that we are trying as much as possible, and which we should remind ourselves like every time that these are things we are trying to work towards, even as we try to ensure clean water and sanitation. Now, indicator 3 of goal 3. We have by 2030 end the epidemics of AIDS, fibromyalgia, and combat hepatitis, waterborne diseases, and other communicable diseases. That means water is very crucial, even to health, when it comes to, because you might not necessarily have issues from STIs, from this, you can abstain, you can do everything, but ordinary taking water that is not healthy enough can land you in hospital, can even land you in heaven or hell, whichever you end up in. Anyways, the point of contention is water is very central to all these things. We have indicators under SDG about water and sanitation. By 2030, substantially reduce the number of deaths and illnesses from hazardous chemicals and air, water and soil pollution. And if we are conversant with happenings, the World Environment Day was more all about beating plastic pollution and so on. And plastic pollution is very rampant and very common when it comes to water issues. If you go to a water like saturated location like Lagos now, beaches and so on. Okay, I worked with a beach, like an organization that owns a beach and so on. Almost every time when you do cleanups, beach cleanups, you always find stuffs inside, plastics and so on and so forth. Pollution, just pollution. And this pollution don't just stay probably on land and so on, it gets into water, and this water will always get back into the society. People can use it to do whatever, and then it will cause the same issue. Now, mortality rate attributed to unsafe water, unsafe sanitation, and lack of hygiene, like exposure to unsafe water, sanitation, and hygiene for all. The same thing as wash services. Now, I just want to put some facts so that we know what we are dealing with. 1 in 5 around the world, 1 out of 5 deaths of children under 5 is due to diseases from unsafe water. That's a big one. That means for every child, infant that died under the age of 5, 1 out of the 5 died due to diseases from unsafe water. Now, imagine the total number. If we try to do the 5 out of, the world is almost running into 8 billion or more now. So that means 1 out of every 5, and let's say maybe children will make up, let's say 2 billion rather, or less or more. And 1 out of 5 is a lot. It's a whole lot. That means for every 5 child, you have a child. Another fact is the fact that we have 783 million people who do not have access to clean and safe drinking water globally, according to the UN SDGs report. That's a whole lot. And if you are saying water is central to life, water is necessary to preserve a lot of things, both in our system, in our day-to-day activity. That means there's a problem, and it's a big one.
Mr. Ayomipo, I'm so sorry for cutting in. Could you please begin to round up? We are supposed to end the meeting by 6 p.m. Could you please?
Okay, yeah, I will, obviously.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Okay, so basically, let me just run by giving like ways to probably improve water quality and access to water, like improving sanitation facilities by providing toilets and latrines that flush into a sewer or safe enclosure. This is very important when we talk about schools, buildings, places, even public places and so on. Promoting good hygiene habits through education, which we are doing, just like the first Dr. Babalola mentioned. Yeah, education, teaching ourselves about these things, they are very important, because people perish because of lack of knowledge, not because of lack of money. People perish when they lack knowledge. So let the knowledge be there. And once again, water is very central to life, and a lot of people are yet to get access to water. And we all need to work as much as possible to ensure that we get access to water, because like I said, the 4 cardinal points: health, economy, food, agriculture, and even education will not move forward without water. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Tayomi Melisi. Thank you so much. That was refreshing. That was educative. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping us link the SDGs the way that you did. Thank you so much. At this juncture, I'm going to ask if anyone has any question. We have like 1 minute to take questions because the meeting is supposed to end at 6. So please, if there's anyone that has a question, can just raise your hand or type it in the chat box very quickly. It could be any question for any of our speakers.
Okay, quickly, just to commend the last speaker who claimed not to be an engineer, but has dwelt so much on engineering. It is the duty of engineers to ensure this SDG that he has mentioned. So I appreciate you. I think we need to give you associate engineer because that is what engineers are tasked to ensure it comes to be before year 2030. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
For giving this opportunity to speak once again. Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much,
much, sir.
sir. Okay, thank you. I think there is nobody else with a question. Thank you so much. I would love to take this time to really appreciate our speakers. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for honoring our invitation. I hope that everything you do for the community, I hope that you're rewarded abundantly for that. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And I also want to thank our participants too. Thank you for staying to the end. Thank you so much. You're really appreciated. I think at this juncture, I can say that the meeting has officially ended. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.